Hello, it's Tony here from Teaching Techniques, Tips and Tools. I'd like to tell you about Hyperdoc. Hyperdocs are documents which contain a variety of hyperlinks. Anything that contains a URL can be linked to a Hyperdoc. This Hyperdoc has been created using Google Slides. I have put on it a variety of links. As you can see, this link here is just to a voice message. Hello, I knew you couldn't resist. So it's Tony. And this voice message gives the learners the instructions as to where to continue to go within this Hyperdoc. So the first thing that I would like them to do is to access an Adele video. Now it'll be useful to point out that this video did not go directly to YouTube. That is because I have embedded it within a Google slide. I find that if you direct straight to YouTube, then all the other videos down the side can be quite distracting. The other point to point out is that even though I've embedded this within a Google slide, I've embedded it to a separate presentation, not a slide within this presentation. That is to prevent the learners from accessing it by going to the bottom, which is where if you had slides, several slides within your presentation, they could all be accessed across the bottom. But I want them to actually click on the link to get to it. So after they've watched this video, then the next thing I want them to do is to go back to the Hyperdoc. And so to ensure they can easily go back to the Hyperdoc, put a return button in. The next thing that they would need to do is to actually read some information about Adele. So there's the hyperlink to Wikipedia with the information about Adele. And then finally, they can go on to the test questions, which is where they can check their understanding to see how much information they've taken on board. Now these test questions have been created with Google Forms, within quizzes within Forms. So the learners will go through, select the appropriate answers, and when they submit, they would automatically be given feedback as to how they got on within the quiz. So that's one example of how you could use a Hyperdoc. The second Hyperdoc I've got is Escape the Room. So it's done exactly the same. It's one Google slide which has got images on it and then lots of links. The difference is that I wanted it to be a bit more interesting for the learners. The activity is a little bit more challenging because it's not obvious where the links are. They would actually have to go around the room and find them, and it'll actually, as you can see, my cursor will turn into a hand. It's just there when you come to a link. Now because this is an escape the room activity, they have to find all of the questions first, and once they've found the questions, then they can input them into a Google form again. However, I've set the form up so that it will not unlock unless they get the questions right. So if we just go through here, here's an example of one of the questions. Again, this question has been put on a separate slide, not the slide within the same presentation, and then a link to go back to the presentation. Just for your interest, what this is a salon, because my subject is hairdressing, and I thought, well, I've got to make it spooky so they want to escape it, which is why I've put spiders and spider webs. So once they've found all of the clues, they would then go into here. As I said, it's another Google form, and it's only as and when they complete the question correctly they can go on to the next question. So it's gradually unlocking the room, and after they've answered all the questions correctly, they can escape. So that's the two activities. The next thing I need to do is to explain how I managed to create these activities. Okay, so what I've done here is I've opened up a Google slide. I've just called it Demo Slide. The first thing to do is to actually put a background within the slide. And the way to do this is to go to Background here, then choose an image. I'm going to actually drag an image across from my desktop. Okay, so now we have an image within the slide. The next thing I need to do is to put more objects within this slide. objects to make the actual activity more interesting, but also to link to. So what I'm going to do now is to go across to image, and this time I'm going to search the web. And what's absolutely brilliant with Google is that within Google Slides you can search the web for copyright-free images. So here's an image of a sandcastle. I've also put down to search for transparent, because that makes it a lot nicer. If they're not transparent, you can actually go to a website which takes the background out, but this saves time if it's already gone for you. So the next thing I'm going to actually search for is a transparent sun. Just to add that to the picture, because I'm thinking it's a beach picture. That's a lovely one. Let's bring that across. Okay, so there's a couple of images on there. Right, now to actually attach a link to this image, you don't click on it and then go to the side, right click, because there's no insert button. How you do it is you need to highlight it, and then you can see link button will appear here, and then you paste in the link to your website, to your document, to whatever you want your learners to go to. So that now has a link attached to it. Just check it worked. Just think I thought I deleted it then by mistake, because the apply button's just there behind that apply. Okay. Like that. The next thing to point out was how I did the links within the escape the room, because you couldn't see the objects. So what I did for that was I got a shape, just like that, drew the shape over the area that I wanted to have a link attached to it. This time objects you can link directly to, so I go to link again, paste in my link, apply, and then we have a link to that object. But obviously it's not working right, is it? That's because it needs to be transparent, so I just select it, and then I get the boxes for colouring to come up, and I'm going to make it transparent. And I want the edges to be transparent, so I just go in there and make that transparent. And so now you can't see where that box is. So the next thing you need to consider is, how do your learners access this Hyperdoc? So what you need to do is to go to File, just here, and then Save to the web. Publish. Okay. And there is the web link. And so you just take that web link and you give it to your learners, and they can access the Hyperdoc. And here the Hyperdoc is. Now I've gone to that link, so here it is. Go over here and it will take them straight to the video that I'd actually linked to. And if I go over here, we can see where that hand, the cursor turns to a hand, so that's where the other link was. And again, it will take them to the same link. So I put the same one in twice. So there you go. So you create a Hyperdoc by putting in a background image, putting in other images, and then just all the shapes, making it transparent and linking to them, and then saving it as a web page. It's that easy. Have fun. I hope you found that useful.